All right, I just picked up the axles from Brian's Automotive to have them pressed. Everything looks pretty good. It seems like it did a good job. They packed with grease. I'm probably gonna get more grease in there. They left it loose for me so I can pre-tension them. The only thing they noticed was that, let's see, is it this one? Not that one. The gap is not even. All right, this crack in here is not even all the way around. You can see it's real wide there to the right, and then it gets a little skinnier on the other side. So I think that's just because this backing plate itself is just so flimsy. I can literally bend it with my hands, and I think it's just moving around in there. So I think it's going to be fine once I get it on the truck and tighten everything down. I think that's not going to be a problem. Yeah, so I'm gonna get this stuff loaded up. They liked the tool. They said it worked great, even with my modifications with the holes I drilled out. So they were very happy with it. He even asked me for the eBay number. He's gonna look at getting a tool for himself. He says because they have occasionally get in Toyota or older axles like that, and they have trouble doing it by hand. So they like the tool. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, let me get this stuff home and get set up. Alright, I'm back. I picked up some stuff from the store there. I got some anti-seize, but I got the kind with a brush because I need to get in on the surface areas there for the where the shoes ride, and it'll be easier for me to reach with something like that. Some more grease. I have like 6 of these, but of course they're like spread out and who knows where they are. So there's number 7. I'm having to settle a little bit on the gear oil. I did want to get something synthetic because of, you know, how the synthetic kind of squeezes past the old seal. So I want to get something a little more conventional, but I really didn't want to get like a Valvoline. I also can't find that special seal rejuvenator stuff. Apparently, like reading online, it's like one of the things that are victim to the shortages of shipping and materials and stuff like that. So they're not on the market. And then these are all my brake parts. So first things first, I'm going to remove these inner seals here, get this hub cleaned up, and then get the new seal pressed in there, and then I can start putting these axles back. And I guess before I do that, I'll do that, and then I have to probably grease these up a little bit better, but also set the tension on these backing nuts. I'm having a hard time finding a clear answer on exactly how much they need to be tightened. In the manual it says something about installing them and then using a feeler gauge on the plate to check for axial movement and stuff like that, and I don't know. And there's also like mixed in information with the 2-wheel drive and how much you're supposed to tighten it and back it off a turn. So I'm gonna have to do some more research here. So I'm gonna start with the seals here, get this cleaned up just so I just need to feel like I need to do something to make some progress. I've been going crazy this morning with phone calls from work, and I'm just, the day's crunching. I'm not getting anywhere just yet. So I'll start with getting this cleaned up and get that seal in there, so at least I can get something move forward. And then I guess maybe with upcoming lunch break, I'll sit down and do some research and figure out exactly how to set these up and tension these and get them where they need to be. So and it's just funny because these are new, but they feel crunchy. And I can see they did the outer bearing ring, so it's not like they cheated and didn't use it, but like, I guess maybe because it's not fully, just hasn't been worked in the grease. But if I pulled this off to check it, I would say that these are bad. And you can hear it, listen to this. They're super crunchy, so I don't know. I'll work on that too and see what I can get figured out, and I'll get back to you. Just wanted to show you what the inside here. Oh, I got that little piece of fake paper out of there. I did a just wiping it down with the rag. I mean, it came out pretty good. You can see a little bit of corrosion there. Looks like on the inside lip there, looks like there might be some water or whatever getting stuck in there. But overall, I mean, just for a wipe down with a rag, that that sealing surface there is really nice. I'm very happy to see that. So I'm gonna set you up here, try to prop it up, and I'll show me putting these seals in. Yeah, it looks nice and even. Nice and easy. Alright, so I did some research about how much to lock down these axle bearing nuts. The book says 150 foot-pounds of torque. I'm not sure how you're supposed to measure that. I guess there's some kind of tool that they make that goes around this that you can measure the torque with. I don't have that. Even with this tightened down, I still have this play here. And I think that's just normal. I think that's just how it is. This presses on the bearing, which presses on the race, and that's just the play that's built into this. There's no play straight, you know, up and down, in and out, but it's just got that rocking, and I guess because of the length of the axle, that's what holds it in place. So that's what we're going to go with. I wasn't able to measure out 150 foot-pounds of torque on this axle nut, so what I did was I ran it in with the screwdriver to what I guesstimate as close as I could go. Basically, it went down till it was nice and tight and snug. It bottomed out. And then I backed it out about 1/2 worth, and I grabbed the next tooth. You can see this one's bent up here. That's what's locking that nut in place. So this way it's not too tight, it's not too loose, and I guess I figure it's better off on the loose side than being on the tight side so I don't smoke this bearing. I'm just basically out of time and energy to keep researching that more and find out exactly how it's supposed to be, and I'm sure that I could probably put this on another whole turn tighter and a whole turn looser, and it probably won't realistically matter for the number of miles I'm going to put on there. So I packed some more grease down in that space there, and I'm actually going to pack it more. I'm going to fill it up pretty good, so this way as it works in, it kind of fills up this cavity here and works into the bearings and stays, not so much to keep it lubricated, but in my mind, to keep the dirt and water, or maybe potentially gear oil coming past the inner seal, out of the bearing. So that's why I'm going to pack it more for a layer of protection than a thought that it's actually going to make a difference on the bearings. I also, after some research, these seals, right, that what I thought were seals that go between here and here on here, these are not. These are shim. This is what sets your actual end plate. And I'm sure that is changed now they put new bearings. I probably should remeasure them, but setting up a feeler gauge and measuring those and actually finding these shims correct to replace them is probably not on the list of things that are going to get done on this project. So it is what it is. The good news is I figured out that they are supposed to have that split, so that's okay. I'm going to install them with the split facing down. That makes the most sense to me. So I guess the things can drain out and dirt and shit can't sit on the top and work their way in. The sealing surfaces on this anyways are not the flat surface here. It's this inner surface here riding on the inside there. Those two surfaces look beautiful. I'm going to put some axle grease and maybe some anti-seize on there for extra protection, but I don't think that water ingress is an issue. It wasn't an issue before with all this dumb shit I was doing with this truck. I don't think it's going to be an issue in the future. So I am going to pack these a little better with some grease. I'm going to put these shims on. I'm going to slide it on here after I grease. I'm going to lube that shaft up and slide it right in that nice black seal there. And then get these backing nuts tightened down properly, and then get to the part of this that I'm really trying to get to today is figuring out the jigsaw puzzle of assembly of these drum brakes. So I'm going to just press forward that, and then I'll get back to you once it's all installed, and then once I start on my drum brake assembly. All right, that seems to be it. There's a gap still. I can't tell if I just need to just pull that in with the nuts or if that's how much grease I had in there. It's just basically filled that cavity. So I want to put some nuts in there and tighten them down to make sure they're good, and then we can get started on some drum brake fun. Alright, I got the passenger side all back together. Figured out where the springs are go. Got the cable run down. The pawl mechanism. E-brake cable back there. That's spring in the pull. You know, I got this here. Works on this, you know, rotates and the pawl works correctly. And these fucking bastards in. Got my, I call this a strut. This thing goes across here, apparently, is the name of it. Strut, that goes on that weird lever back here that moves, and get it all back together. All I have to do now is just... Oh, I guess that's supposed to go in first. Great. I'll just take all this apart that I just spent the last hour putting together and put the first part back in. Great. Great day. Okay, for real this time I got the passenger side done. I got my new hydraulic cylinder in there. Got the springs on, got the cables, and got the whole assembly on there. Auto adjuster. Those were completely seized. I had to put a little convincing on them, and then I packed them with anti-seize. And that should be good. And then I put some on the parts that move, where the brake shoes roll against the backing plate. I grinded them with the spinny sparky thing, and then so they can move. But unfortunately, you know, because it's anti-seize, I got that fucking stuff all over everything. So I mean, it's good for brake pads, right? Molybdenum disulfide, that's good. It's like, you know, add some lubrication to your brakes. You don't need them to actually grab, do you? Anyways, nightmare. What a pain in the ass. I guess if you had the right tools, I mean, getting this compressed and getting them turned correctly, I guess if you had the right tool, it would be easier. But man, what a fucking pain in the ass. And I got like over an hour in just putting this back together here. So anyways, passenger side done. I'm going to go over and do the driver side, and then I gotta look and see. I thought I ordered drums, but they didn't show up, so I gotta see if maybe they're delayed or what's going on. But for the time being, if this is the only thing holding me up, I'm just going to clean these up and put them on. I'm not waiting for drums, letting this sit any longer. If I can drive it, I'm going to drive it. So that's what's going on. I'm going to knock out the driver's side, and then I'll check in when I'm doing the final assembly of getting the drums and everything back together. Yeah. All right. All done, both sides. Everything on the brakes, hardware, everything is back together. Seems to be good. Next step is to, if you remember from my previous video, this brake line that runs down to the back here broke. So the next thing is to get that replaced. So I went to the store and I got this. Now, if this motherfucker, these fittings fit on both ends, it's almost the exact perfect length. It's going to save me having to deal with the flaring tool and all that stuff like that. I am just going to bend this up and shove it in there, and I might be bleeding the brakes here in a matter of like 10 minutes. So, man, fingers crossed that works out, and I can save me having to cut line and put extra fittings. And yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if it fits. Alright, let's see here. 3/16, 5/16, wrong size. 3/16, of course I got the wrong cylinder on there. Easy fix. 3/16. Load that up. Alright. That's what I'm making. I'm just gonna get I can't get this into the fitting because of clearances. I'm gonna put this first bend in it just so I can see if these thread in or not. One of these days I'll actually bother to learn and memorize all the different threadings and fittings for brake lines and fuel lines instead of just winging it every time. But I've never seen the bother to get around with that. So I'm gonna bend that up. That's not enough. I'm not necessarily sure how to make more on this guy, so I am just going to just do it manually like that. This comes back farther than 180, so or farther than 90. So I'm going to bring this up. It's always easier to add than take away, so I'm going to leave it like that. Let's see if this threads in. In the back here. I'll bring you in here. This is where this is the main line coming down from to the rear, and this is where it splits. I am trying to thread this in there. Obviously it's not a... Alright, I figured out what's going on here. On the bottom is the old fitting double bubble flare there, and the top one a single flare or actual bubble flare as opposed to a double flare. Whatever, I get my lingo mixed up. And then you can also see there's on the top there, the new fitting, there's a couple threads missing, so I think it's actually threading in. You can see that I think it's only going in a turn and a half because of the depth. See the difference here? So I think that I'm going to get my flare tool, get a double flare on that, and then that should thread in far enough. Because right now I'm only getting, as you can see here, about a thread and a half engagement, not even. So hopefully that'll change it, and I'll get back with you. So because this has already been flared once, I'm just going to come back with this piece here and try to flare it back out. Not 100% confident that's how this can work. It's usually the first step of a double flare isn't working, but I guess what I can do is just cut some of this back and start over. I'm going to give this a try and see what it does. Alright, that's not exactly what I would call perfect, but new on the left, old on the right. I'm going to call that good enough to try, so let's try to thread this in and see how it goes. Let's see if I can hold and show you. Oh yeah, instantly starting to thread in. I got more engagement now and it's bottoming out. So I'll count these real quick if I can. That's 1, 2, yeah, gosh, not even 2.5 turns. I'm not really getting a lot of engagement there. There's not much thread depth, and that has a lot to do with the fact that you see that there's difference between the threads and that collar there. It's not very deep. I'm going to try to flatten this bubble flare a little bit more, and then looks like I got, actually no, I get some, yeah, I got some imperfections here from when I grabbed it with the tool, and that's obviously spacing this out some. So I'm going to try to tighten that down with a wrench and see how well it tightens and go from there. Alright, there's the final result. Comes down and around and up. I originally had some nice sharp angles there, but I wound up having to bend it by hand a little bit, so some of it's a little wonky. I tried to keep it close here to the axle also because I'm trying to, I don't need a stick going up there between the axle and there. Actually, it's probably still pretty tough. I'll probably bring this down a little bit more. I don't need a stick coming up here and breaking my brake line off, so I'll try to tuck this closer to the axle to prevent something like that happening, because I do get sticks that fly up into the undercarriage a lot. I get them up through here a lot and up into the door jams and stuff like that. So anyways, that's where we're at with that. I am going to bend these up a little more, try to tighten them. I'm going to check my fluid, fire up the compressor, and start bleeding these down. Alright, I'm going to bleed these down. Driver's side rear is the farthest, and then I'll work my way back over to the passenger side. I know we talked about it before, man, I'm telling you, you got to get yourself one of these bleeders. You can do everything by yourself. You just hook your air compressor up. This draws a vacuum. You put your line on. The line's nice and clear so you can see what's coming through, and you just suck it right from here. It's a nice one-man job, and the best part is it makes lots of noise and nobody wants to bother you while you're doing it. So I'm gonna get these bled out. The sun's starting to go down here a little bit, so I'm gonna start getting cracking along. I gotta bleed these brakes, get the differential filled back with gear fluid, and then obviously I need to get these. I didn't order. I looked at my ordering. I didn't actually order replacement drums. Those will do good enough for now. They're an easy swap out later if I need to, but I need to get those on, get these brakes adjusted, test them, and then I can start putting this back together. I think the truck's going to stay here though. I'm going to work on the exhaust and the shower. Probably not tonight, but I want to get that stuff worked on maybe this weekend in time for our camping trip next weekend. So, all right, I'm going to get this bled down and I'll let you know how it goes.